Does your dog's wagging tail always mean they're happy to see you? For generations, we've been told a simple, comforting story. A wagging tail is a happy dog. It's not that simple. In fact, that belief is dangerously incomplete. You're about to discover the 5 hidden messages encoded in your dog's tail. And number 4 reveals a neurological secret that separates a friendly greeting from a severe warning sign. This isn't just about happiness. It's a complex language broadcasted from the base of their spine, and it all comes down to a hidden axis, a literal left or right signal controlled by competing hemispheres of their brain, sending you a message you've likely been missing your entire life. For the devoted owner, understanding this code is the final key to unlocking a conversation you never knew you were having. The tail is not just an appendage. It is a neurological antenna, broadcasting every subtle shift in your dog's emotional state. To read it correctly is to truly see them. To misread it can have consequences. So let's begin with the first secret. Number 1. The foundational myth of the happy wag. The single most important thing to understand is that a wagging tail does not exclusively signal happiness. It signals emotional arousal. That arousal can be positive, like the ecstatic joy of seeing you walk through the door. But it can also be born from frustration, deep anxiety, or even aggression. Think of a guard dog on high alert, staring down an intruder. Its body is tense, its focus is absolute, and its tail is often wagging. That is not a happy dog. That is a dog whose nervous system is flooded with adrenaline, a coiled spring on the verge of action. The wag is simply the overflow of intense neurological energy. It's the engine revving, but it doesn't tell you if the car is about to accelerate with joy or charge forward in an attack. The context and the rest of the tail signals are everything. Which brings us to the second secret broadcast from the tail. Its vertical position. This is the language of status and confidence, a social signal understood instinctively by other dogs but often overlooked by humans. Imagine a vertical axis running up your dog's back. The height of the tail on this axis is a clear statement of their emotional standing in that exact moment. A high tail, held stiffly or with a fast, tight wag, is a display of confidence, assertiveness, and even dominance. The dog is broadcasting its presence, saying, "I am here, and I am important." A champion show dog prancing around the ring holds its tail high. A dog challenging another for a resource might do the same. It is a sign of a highly aroused, confident animal. Then there is the neutral position, roughly parallel to the spine, often accompanied by a relaxed, sweeping wag. This is the dog at ease. This is the state of contentment, of a mind untroubled by threats or challenges. This is the baseline from which all other signals should be measured. It is peace made visible. But as the tail drops below the spine, the message shifts dramatically. A low-slung tail signals deference, uncertainty, or a desire to appease. And a tail tucked tightly between the legs? That is the universal sign of fear. The dog is trying to make itself smaller, to hide its scent-producing anal glands, and to broadcast a clear message of surrender. I am not a threat. It's a heartbreakingly clear window into their anxiety. But what happens when the vertical axis isn't enough? What if 2 dogs approach each other, tails held at the exact same neutral height, both wagging? How do you know if you're about to witness a joyful wrestling match or a dangerous fight? The answer isn't in how high they wag. The secret is in which direction they wag. This leads us to secret number 3, and this is where the hidden neurological code truly begins to reveal itself. The tail has a second axis, the horizontal. It is not symmetrical. A dog's wag is almost always biased, even if only slightly, to one side. This bias is a direct, unconscious reflection of which side of their brain is more active. Just like in humans, the dog's brain is lateralized. The left hemisphere and the right hemisphere handle different emotions and responses. The left hemisphere, which controls the right side of the body, is associated with positive, approach-oriented feelings, things like happiness, familiarity, and affection. The right hemisphere, which controls the left side of the body, processes negative, withdrawal-oriented feelings, like fear, suspicion, and aggression towards threats. The tail is a neurological mirror. When a dog feels positive and relaxed, like when seeing its owner, its brain's left hemisphere fires up. This sends a signal down the spine, and the tail wags with a bias to the dog's right. The arc of the wag is wider and more prominent on the right side of its body. This is the true happy wag. But when a dog feels negative, stressed, or suspicious, like when seeing an unfamiliar, imposing dog or a strange person, its right hemisphere dominates. This sends a signal to the left side of the body. The tail will still wag, signaling arousal, but it will be biased to the dog's left. It's a subtle distinction, but it is the difference between an invitation and a warning. An Italian research team confirmed this in a groundbreaking study published in the journal Current Biology, using motion capture technology to map the precise angles of tail wags. They proved what master trainers had suspected for years: left and right matter. This brings us to the most critical revelation of all, the one we promised would change everything. Number 4. The combination code of deception. A dog cannot consciously lie with its tail. It's an involuntary response. But we, as humans, can lie to ourselves by misinterpreting the signals. We see a wag, and we want it to mean happiness, but the tail never lies. Consider a common scenario. You're at the park, and a stranger approaches to pet your dog. Your dog's tail starts to wag. The stranger smiles, assuming it's a green light. You feel relieved, but you just learned about the horizontal axis. You look closer. The wag is low, just below the spine, and it's biased distinctly to the dog's left. The vertical axis is screaming anxiety. The horizontal axis is screaming avoidance and fear. The tail is not a flag of friendship. It is a desperate warning, and the stranger is not listening. They keep their hand moving closer, cooing at your dog. And just like that, the illusion is shattered. The stranger jumps back, shocked. He was wagging his tail, they protest. And they were right. He was. But what does that even mean anymore? We've been taught to see the wag, but we've been completely blind to the language. But what if I told you that even the left-right code, this incredible neurological window, is still only half the story? What if the tail's most profound secret isn't visual at all? This leads us to the final, most astounding secret. Number 5. The scent fan. We know dogs communicate with scent. Their anal glands, located right at the base of the tail, release powerful chemical messengers called pheromones that signal their emotional state, health, and identity. For decades, we thought the tail's position was just about protecting or exposing these glands. Tucking the tail hides the scent. Raising it releases it. Simple, but it's so much more elegant than that. The wag itself is an active dispersal system. It's an engine, a biological fan designed to push these invisible messages into the world. And remember the left-right asymmetry? It's not just about the brain. It physically changes how the scent is spread. When a dog wags with that happy, confident bias to its right, the powerful muscles of the wag create a vortex. It pulls air from the left and propels its "I'm friendly, I'm relaxed" pheromones directly forward and to the right, towards the very thing it's happy to see. It's an olfactory handshake. It's actively broadcasting its good intentions. But when it wags with that anxious, suspicious bias to its left, the fluid dynamics reverse. The tail is no longer broadcasting. It may even be creating a wall of air, an attempt to block its own scent, to minimize the information it's giving away. It's the smell of uncertainty. It's the smell of uncertainty. But this is where the story takes its most disturbing turn. Because that scent fan, that invisible cloud of information, isn't just for other dogs. What if your own brain is picking it up too? That flash in the dark of your own mind? That is the ghost of an instinct we all once had. It's that fleeting, inexplicable feeling of unease you can't quite place. It's the whisper from the oldest part of your brain, the part that lived in the wild, that knew the rustle in the grass was a predator, not the wind. We've trained ourselves to ignore it. Our logical minds, our cerebral cortex, see the wagging tail and tell us a simple, comforting story. It's a happy dog. But our amygdala, smelling the chemical signature of fear broadcast by that left-biased wag, is screaming a different story. Warning, caution, threat. This is the most dangerous miscommunication of all, not between human and dog, but between the modern human and their own ancient, forgotten self. Every year, thousands of bites are labeled unprovoked. But were they? Or did we simply refuse to listen to the warning broadcast in a chemical language we've forgotten how to hear? A warning confirmed by a gut feeling we've learned to dismiss? The tail, then, is more than just a dog's emotional barometer. It's a mirror. It reflects a truth about ourselves. That in our quest to build cities and conquer nature, we have walled off our own instincts. We have become deaf to the planet's oldest and most honest conversation. But it's not lost forever. We can learn to listen again. By understanding the tail, we are not just decoding the dog. We are rebooting our own internal hardware. We are learning to bridge the gap between our analytical mind and our primal intuition. The language of the tail is an invitation. It's a chance to see the world not just with our eyes, but with a deeper, more ancient sense. It's an opportunity to rebuild a trust that was never truly broken, only forgotten. To understand that the wag is not the end of the story, but the very beginning. The story of the animal kingdom is, and always has been, the story of ourselves. To continue this journey, to rediscover the languages we have forgotten, and unlock the secrets hidden in plain sight, subscribe to Canisse. The conversation is just getting started.